I'm sure you've heard by now that sea moss is supposed to be the miracle superfood, right? It's got 92 minerals, fixes everything, and all the wellness influencers love it. So why does the same spoonful of gel that completely transforms one person seem to do absolutely nothing for the next and send a third person to urgent care with a racing heart? As it turns out, the sea moss itself isn't the issue. The thing that decides which of those experiences you'll have has almost nothing to do with the moss and everything to do with you. Here's what I mean. Think about the qualities of sea moss. It's cool, watery, and slippery. That's the key that separates the person it rebuilds from the person it quietly wears down. Most people are never taught this. Now, before we get into any of that, we need to talk about the different types of sea moss because I know it can be overwhelming. You'll see gold, purple, Irish, and full spectrum sea moss. The internet has spun this into a whole mythology. Gold heals this, purple cures that. Most of it is just marketing. Here's the honest version. The color mostly comes from the species and how much sun it soaked up, rather than each one having a different hidden healing compound. Irish moss tends to have a stronger flavor, while gold is the mildest one. Purple is genuinely interesting, though, because its color comes from the same family of antioxidant pigments that make blueberries blue. So gold versus purple is really just a flavor preference, with purple offering a slight antioxidant edge. Full spectrum is usually a different species of seaweed altogether. It's tougher and more fibrous, yields significantly less gel, and it won't break down enough from a simple soak to blend smoothly. You actually need to simmer it on the stove before you blend it, or else it'll be chunky. What actually differentiates the plant is where it grew. Sea moss from cold, rough waters tends to come out denser and more robust, while moss from warm, calm waters tends to be milder. The environment shapes its texture and even its mineral makeup. Irish moss is the classic cold water kind, stronger in taste and prized for being nutritionally dense. But the single biggest factor isn't the color, the species, or even the water temperature. It's how clean its water was. And we need to address that because it can really hurt you. But before we go there, let's talk about what you came here for. What sea moss does once it's inside you, week by week. In week 1, you might expect your energy to be the first thing to change. But guess what? It isn't. The first thing you'll notice is your digestion, and we'll be polite about what that means. You see, sea moss is full of a soft, slippery fiber that coats and soothes the lining of your gut while feeding the friendly bacteria down there. Here's why that matters more than you think it should. Your gut and your liver are the backstage crew of your entire body. They break down everything you take in, use the good stuff, and get rid of the rest. When that crew is calm and well-fed, they absorb even more nutrients. But when they're inflamed and overworked, you can eat the cleanest diet on the planet and barely benefit from it. So week 1 isn't dramatic. It's the part where the machinery gets tuned up before you ask it to do anything impressive. Before we move on, I want to know, have you ever taken sea moss before? Did you feel incredible, feel nothing, or feel a little worse? Drop it in the comments because in just a few minutes, your answer is going to make a lot more sense. All right, now week 2 is when people start talking about the fog lifting, and the mechanism behind this is amazing. Sea moss carries iron, and iron is what your body uses to build hemoglobin. Think of hemoglobin molecules as tiny delivery trucks that haul oxygen through your blood. More oxygen reaching your brain means clearer thinking and steadier energy. But bonus, your brain isn't the only thing using that oxygen. A few other things will wake up too. You'll notice your stamina climb, your mood steady out, your hair, skin, and nails looking alive again, and your immune system, which also runs on iron, will get a little stronger. But here's the thing. You'll only feel something if you were running low to begin with. If your tank was already full, more iron doesn't hand you a superpower, it just tops off the tank. While that may be a quieter win, it's still a win. Meanwhile, the biggest engine of all hasn't even switched on yet. That shows up in week 3, but it comes with an important catch. That catch is your thyroid, which is a small gland in your neck that sets the speed of your entire body. Think of it as your energy thermostat, which runs on 2 minerals that sea moss just so happens to carry: iodine and selenium. When it's starved for iodine, everything slows down. You feel tired, perpetually cold, and your thinking turns to mud. When you replenish a starving thyroid with the iodine it was missing, the fatigue lifts. And selenium is the partner that helps the thyroid be able to use that iodine while protecting the gland while it works. So the two really work as a team. That part is real, and it's the genuine gift of this food. But here's some nuance. More is not always better. Sit with that point, because in a minute it becomes the most important sentence here. If this is changing how you look at food, hit those like and subscribe buttons. It's a free way to support the channel and helps these videos reach more people who need them. Okay, so why do some people feel worse instead of better? This is the part that ties everything together, provided you're paying attention. By week 4, your body will reveal some things to you. Some of you will feel amazing, some will feel nothing, and some of you might feel heavier, slower, and maybe even a little more congested. Same food, 3 results. Now, there's an ancient healing system that bases everything on this exact observation and universal truth. It's called Ayurveda. It's the traditional healing system from India, and it reads food by its qualities rather than just its nutrients. Now, remember how we said earlier that sea moss is cold, heavy, damp, and slippery? There's one word that describes all those qualities. That word is kapha, and sea moss is the quintessential kapha food. So here's the principle that unlocks the whole mystery. You want to choose foods that balance the qualities that are presenting in you. A food like this rebuilds what's depleted and burdens what's already full. If you're run down and burned out, it cools you down and fills you back up. That's your person who feels amazing. But if you already run cold, heavy, and sluggish, adding more of the same is going to create even more of an imbalance. That's your person who feels worse and is left wondering why this miracle food turned them into a sloth. 2 things can be true at once, and that's exactly where people can get hurt. One man's medicine is another man's poison. You have to understand yourself as well as the nature of what you're taking to know if it's right for you. So let's talk about where people can actually get into trouble. First of all, that same iodine that wakes up a sleepy thyroid can flood a sensitive one. If you already have a thyroid condition, more iodine isn't necessarily a tune-up. It can be a risk. Here's an example. A couple years ago, a woman posted a viral video about her experience with sea moss. She thought she was doing everything right, and she was using high-quality, wild-crafted sea moss that she brought home from Grenada. But here's the catch. She was taking 6 to 7 tablespoons a day. I'm talking roughly 2 tablespoons in every meal for weeks, and she landed in urgent care with her heart pounding. Doctors suspected that too much sea moss had flooded her with iodine. The dose is important. A spoonful a day is a potent superfood, but 7 spoons a day is a cautionary tale. Through the Ayurvedic lens, that racing heart isn't a contradiction. It's the body chasing balance. Overload it with cold and heavy, and it answers by firing up the opposite forces to burn off the excess. Thus, cold and heavy flips into hot and racing. The second issue is a habit only Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine will warn you about: eating it cold, straight off the spoon, right out of the fridge. The reason this is important has to do with your digestive fire, which is what breaks down your food, extracts the nutrients, and discards the waste. When you take in cold things, you put that fire out. The third thing to watch for is sensitivity. Some people genuinely react to the seaweed itself, so if it's your first time, start small and pay attention. And last, but certainly not least, is sourcing. Remember how I said earlier that the most important thing is the cleanliness of the water it grew in? Here's why. Seaweed soaks up whatever's in the water it's growing in, heavy metals included. Clean moss supports your gut and liver, but contaminated moss burdens them. So you need to be aware of what you're buying. For example, gold is the most common type sold, but it's also the most commonly faked because a pale color can either mean it was naturally sun-dried or it was pool-grown and bleached to look clean. So buy from someone reputable who tests and is transparent about their product. I'll leave a link in the description to the sea moss I personally use, along with a discount link for my favorite sea moss protein powder. So what's the better way? Well, get this. Cooking transforms a food's qualities, and gentle warmth makes heavy foods easier to digest. The fire on the pot starts breaking down the food before it hits the fire in your belly, giving your gut a head start. So instead of a cold, slimy scoop straight from the jar, stir a spoonful into warm soup or oatmeal near the end of cooking, or even into warm tea. That way, you turn cold and heavy into warm and friendly. One note though, warm it gently and don't boil it to death because long, hard heat can cook off some of the good stuff. Then there's the question of frequency. I want to let you in on a little secret that the supplement industry will never tell you. You don't need to take it every day forever. Your body was built to rotate through foods the way the year rotates through seasons. So pulse it. Make a jar, finish it, then wait until you feel like making more. Maybe that's a week on and a week off. Maybe it's longer. The pause is what keeps the iodine from quietly piling up, which means the ancient wisdom of cycling your foods is the answer to the modern worry about iodine toxicity. And that, my friends, is tradition and science shaking hands. Now there's one hard exception, and this one's not optional. If you have a diagnosed thyroid condition like Hashimoto's or Graves', talk to your doctor before you start. For that group, the body's iodine signals are already scrambled, and you'll want to have your levels checked and your doctor's supervision before you jump into anything. So here's the bottom line. While nature is miraculous and truly gives us everything we need, there's a light and a shadow to everything in life. The real question was never whether sea moss works, but always, is it right for you in your current state? Because that state changes. So it might be right for you today, but wrong a month from now. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Learn your body, find your rhythm, and take your sea moss warm. If you know someone who's all about sea moss, share this video with them. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into how to work with your body instead of against it, check out this video right here. Remember, longevity isn't luck, it's a lifestyle. Until next time.